Well, Casey used to go to Freeport, and he got introduced to some musicians down there, and he liked what he heard from you guys in Criteria. He also liked what he heard in Freeport, and he incorporated that in his music. So the Miami sound that became very famous was really the Bahamian sound that was taken from the Bahamas.
That's right.
And Casey at one time was even going to be calling himself
Casey and the Sunshine Junkanoo Band.
Junkanoo Band. Most people don't know that.
The first song being Blow Your Whistle.
That's right.
So
That's right.
the history, and you know, I have a lot of write-ups and critiques about which I'll give you some of them after the show, but that you can incorporate in the production of this. That the people that were the critiques of the beginning of then and our music said that really they didn't know what category to put the band in, because that was a big problem.
Yes, you were number one on the rhythm and blues charts, which is basically black music.
That's right.
You were number one on the rock charts, which was basically white music.
Pop.
And of course, people who have a Latin background enjoy the music as well. How did you guys describe the music? I mean, I could recognize a little bit of the junkanoo in there. I could recognize a little bit of the soul in there. But what is your description of the music?
It's because, Charles, it's because of, like I said, the diverse backgrounds of all the individual musicians. Like I said, Roy and Ralph played. He wasn't a part of the physical beginning of that group, but he and Neville Sampson, of course, with the two horns. I called Sampson the blew down the walls of Jericho and the walls of the world. Those two horns sounded as if we were using 10 horns at the time, and we were just two, and we were only recording on 8 tracks, so you couldn't dub. But the music itself had all its ingredients in it. It's very hard to put a label or a name, and that's why, like I said, when you read these reviews now, they would say like, it really should have been, we could have gone on the jazz charts, because we went on to do another album with Teddy Randazzo called Superwoman, which the beginning of that, Superwoman. And when they heard Roy play guitar, it sounded like Philip Church or Wes Montgomery.
So
I'm saying
it had so many things going for it.
Tentacles, you know.
You called it the beast that would not die. The song came out officially in 1971.
That's right.
It's still around. How many versions?
Oh, well, Charles, I call it my string of pearls, because there are at least, or last count, 17 versions of 17 different artists. And out of those 17 artists, I would say that 15 did it exactly the way, I mean, the arrangement was exactly the way we did it, meaning with all the horn lines, all of the lyrics. You've got people, Dutch people singing it in English. You've got Roy Ayers, he did a version. You've got Herbie Mann, the flautist. He did a jazz thing with it. You had the Blues Brothers, of course, Erykah Badu. And each one give it a different treatment, but they never changed the lyrics. Now, why would they be singing about Nassau's go? These people are from all parts of the world.
Well, because a long time ago, Nassau did go funky, and that sound really encapsulated the young Bahamian at that particular time. If you had to do it all over again, and you've got exactly 20 seconds to answer this question, what would you do differently?
Well, we didn't get into a lot of things that we say we were going to get into, so this is part one. Part two have to be, because there's a lot more. There's a lot much out, but I wouldn't do anything differently, because my only regret is that the Bahamians still to this date don't realize the magnitude or the power that one song had and has, and the potential even in the future. So I would just say that maybe the second time around, if the Bahamians would really take a closer look, not just at the beginning of then and the music we did, but of some of the other young artists that I see coming up now, and hear what they're doing and what they're trying to do with the music, introducing it to the world, and introducing and trying to create a sound or a niche that we could call our very own. When we got a doggone beat, we're going to call our very own. We had it a long time ago. We just need to appreciate it more, and I've noticed the Bahamians are appreciating it more, but we really need to encourage the artists and support them.
Well, would you encourage artists to do what you did? You, Frank, Bud, and Henfield did. Roy, sorry. Yeah. In 1969, is to go back into a lab and try and just taken everything that's happening in the Bahamas today and come up with something that represents us, that has to include what you did back then, what KB is doing now, what Phil Stubbs is doing now, what these young guys are doing now who are coming out of Inagua, and try and create something. Are we at a stage now when you think it could happen again?
It can happen again, Charles, and really the music that I'm hearing that they're doing, I like it. But like I said, we need, and I've been saying this for a few years now, we need a way to get the music out of here, because even to go way back to some of the songs that we recorded, really the world haven't heard them yet. And they can be dressed up and put in a different outfit and sent back out there. And the songs that were hits here could be hits anywhere, but they just haven't had a chance for the exposure. We need someone, a distributor, we need managers, we need lawyers, we need the business to be, we got to take care of business too. That was one of the lyrics in Funky Nassau.
Absolutely.
The business, we got to take care of the business. The talent has always been here and will always be here.
When the album came out, I still think that Monkey Tambourine was one of the most undiscovered gems of Bahamian music ever.
Oh, yeah, but there again, that came out stateside too as a follow-up to Funky Nassau. But people didn't know what we talking about, Monkey Tambourine. You know, they didn't know what that was. They liked the beat, but like I say, it still isn't too late. We got to reintroduce those songs, reintroduce Jessica She Fat to the world. The world need to hear these music, the music that we've created in the last 30 years. And so we need the help from record companies. I wouldn't say government, because the government didn't help us at the time with Funky Nassau. We created it ourselves and took it to the world.
Yes.
So we got to create the music and present it to the world, and ain't no stopping us now.
Ray Munnings, this has been a fascinating hour with you. I think you and I both know that an hour isn't enough. One program doesn't encapsulate it all, because the history of the Munnings family in music, the history of what Funky Nassau and the beginning of the end has done, are just asterisks that sometimes dazzle, but are very seldomly understood. We got to do this again.
Well, Charles, like I said, this was part one. Coming soon, part two. And I thank you for allowing me this time and the opportunity to do this. But like I said, there are a lot of untold stories that we need to cover. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Living legend, fantastic entertainer, great Bahamian, a family that is as Bahamian as the Munnings is. I'm Charles Carter. Good evening.